I'm heavily wired, be careful. 안녕하세요. Good afternoon. I don't usually sit for my lectures. I'm pretty much all over the place. So I'm very happy to see so many people here today. Thank you for coming. If you're here, and you specifically are interested in yoga and Ayurveda, to me it means that you're very much interested in your health, in your physical and mental and emotional condition, and adding to your already learned or accumulated repertoire of knowledge, probably from very different places, perhaps Oriental medicine, perhaps other forms of medicine. Ayurveda healthcare, as you probably know, is from Indo, and it's considered to be 5,000 plus years. And yoga it's considered to be about 10,000 years old. Pretty old. I mean, I'm old, but that's very old. Looks like we have a lot of young people here today. So before we get started, truly, this is an interactive experience. I could give a very scholarly lecture. I find that to be quite boring, and you probably have had enough of those type of things in your universities. I'm going to be moving around. You're going to have a quiz. I know particularly Koreans are particularly good at quiz taking and test taking. Isn't that true? You don't like it, but you're very good at it. Yeah. Actually, it has to do with discovering your body type. So let me get started and talk a little bit about what the difference is or what the connections are between yoga and Ayurveda. But before I do that, I want you to briefly, please introduce yourself to me, and we'll hear that, so speak loudly, and your own experience with yoga. Whether it be hot yoga, diet yoga, get your boyfriend, girlfriend yoga, doesn't matter. Okay? Or if you're a yoga teacher, very much interested in communicating your experience. And for those of you who are therapists in any tradition, please let us know who you are and why you might be here. Okay? So let's start. Joel, hi.
Thank you. My experience with yoga ranges over the last 2 or 3 years on and off. Mostly doing it as a challenge to myself because I was always most interested in athletics or bodybuilding, weightlifting, and I began to realize I would get more balance in my daily life from challenging myself in my flexibility and my spiritual practice as opposed to grunting and
building muscle.
Dragging out my testosterone.
Yeah.
So it's very challenging for me. I'm still going a couple times a week to yoga classes in my home, but it's been a great journey so far.
Okay. So powerlifting can be a spiritual experience, but yoga particularly focuses on that. Yoga is the science of mind or the science of self-realization. Okay, thank you. Please pass these around. And can we hear? Is this on? Is that on? I don't think so for everybody. Okay, go ahead. From Sweden? Hi.
And more recently, I have been doing hatha yoga.
Okay, hatha yoga, the classical yoga. Yes. Okay.
Hello, my name is Rita. I'm from Argentina, and I never practiced yoga, so I only have some meditation exercise. It's the only thing.
Great. Okay.
Hello, I'm Michelle, and when I first came to Korea, I studied yoga here for about 2 years, and without any English. And after I hurt myself in the class, my neck. And now I practice yoga as a stretching at home alone, not in class or with
Okay. Yes. Come.
I'm Sabrina. I have a little bit of experience doing yoga just maybe on and off for the past couple of years. I think most
Mhm.
I don't remember the name of the other like but
Yeah.
lovely.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm from India, and I on and off do yoga 3 times a week. I try to do hot yoga at home on my own, and I've learned a little bit of yoga in India, so I'd like to experience and learn more from you today. Okay. Hi. Is that me? Am I able to share?
Yeah, it's so powerful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kimmy, and actually I have PhD in Costa Rica, so I try to do yoga a lot actually, and I don't know if it was indicative of my personality, but I used to go down to the beach and fly every morning, and I'm really trying to make it stick, so I'm much more of a philosophical person, and I like the science behind it,
Good.
so I'm trying to be open vessel to learn more so that I can stick
To it.
well.
Yeah. Instead of the beach, we have mountains here,
Yes.
so you'll enjoy all the prana from that. Okay.
On the beach, it will help me to adopt it into my life.
Okay.
I'm really trying to make a concerted effort to get behind the science of it and try to get better.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kumar, and honestly, I've never tried yoga before. This is my first time having yoga. The only purpose that I want to try yoga is that I'm looking for some peace.
Okay.
And yoga is an issue.
It's a good reason.
My name is Chris.
Hi, Chris.
I play around with like a third thousand years of languages. Mostly I guess I'll play mantra. But for the past 20 years, I guess my meditation tradition falls more along for Buddhist tradition.
Okay.
So I'm sort of yogas and the ideas behind it very much in physical practice.
And we'll find that as you learn more about the philosophy of yoga, it has the same ideas as the Buddhist tradition. If you recall, or you may know already, that in Vedic philosophy, Buddha is very much honored and appreciated as a reincarnation of Vishnu. For those of you who may know about Vishnu, there's 3 really characteristics of the universal intelligence, and they personify that as Brahman, the creator, Vishnu, the maintainer of knowledge, and that's why Buddha is certainly appreciated for that. And then Shiva. So Shiva is more the destroyer of ignorance, very active, much like Brahman in that way. So you'll find that they really fold into each other in terms of the philosophies. Yes, thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom. First started meditation about 2 years ago in Thailand, and I'm learning to use it, happy with it. And say, resonates more with me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
My name is Ramana. I'm from the US. I spent a number of years practicing yoga, which led me to massage therapy, which led me to Reiki, which led me to Ayurveda. So I've been practicing Ayurveda.
So you'd be interested in marma therapy?
Yeah,
Okay.
I found out a teacher to study with them in South India.
Okay, I also teach it only to therapists, so if you're interested, we can talk later.
Cool.
Yeah, very powerful technique.
Hi guys, I'm Andrea from Venezuelan language in the States, and I was really young. I'm more interested in the philosophy than I am the actual
Practice?
things. Yeah, but I'm really interested and just looking for the practicality. I don't know, not wanting to feel like I'm really, you know what I mean? I'm looking for
Stability.
and like that. So.
Okay, good. So, you're speaking beautifully. Sorry, my Korean is not good.
My fault. So my name is Oma. I try Hatha Yoga meditation for a few years. I found yoga to really help to focus on meditation. And I'm very interested in observing my mind state and body sensation while I'm doing yoga. So I think yoga is the first step for the meditation goal.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Sir?
Hi, I'm Jeff. I've done various yogas over the years, hatha, different kinds of hatha yoga, and some Ayurveda study in India a little bit, and some Vipassana.
Very good. Thank you. And this gentleman behind you? Please. Yeah. Oh, you're going to have one. You're going to have some experience today. I mean, we have all these wonderful practitioners. I don't have to really be here much. Oh, we missed someone? Oh, sorry.
Hi, my name is James. I'm studying a little bit of Vedic philosophy and tried that the meditation aspect of yoga in my life.
Mm-hmm. Very good. I feel very honored that so many of you have practiced and perhaps still practice some aspect of yoga. And today, what I want to do is connect you to where yoga comes from. And I usually stand up, so please bear with me if I seem a lot taller than you. Okay. And I have all these wires. I hope I don't get electrocuted. Anyway. So some of you probably already know what Veda is. Veda is the Indo philosophy. It's not Hinduism. Hinduism kind of precipitated out as a religious institution. But Veda is the science of all the universe. The unmanifest and the manifest. It's huge, beyond our understanding or perception, unless perhaps we're in very high levels of consciousness. And for thousands of years, this knowledge was retained orally, only orally, passed on from father to son or father to daughter, and kept very close within special families. And the purpose for that was to keep the knowledge pure. It eventually was written down, most of it. And over the years, the millennium, different scholars would put their own commentary to it. Now we know from our experience, depending on your level of consciousness, your description of this hand may be very different from someone else's description. It would depend on your insight, your personal experience, and your level of consciousness. What has happened, some of the knowledge of Veda has pretty much been diluted until really about the 1800s. 1900s, wow, we're really going along fast. But anyway, how was Veda conceived? Well, many of you probably heard of the idea of a seer. S-E-E-R. A seer is, in fact, a human being who has reached extraordinarily high levels of consciousness, or totally enlightened. And in that state, which you've all learned about through either your Buddhist teaching or other philosophies, that with just the intention of knowing, the knowledge is realized, incorporated within the physiology of that individual. Yoga, and for those of you who are very much interested, Yoga is a reflection of your physiology. Right now, whether you have practice or not, yoga's in there. It's already in your body. So, I know you won't be able to see this. I don't use projectors because it usually means lights out and a lot of nonsense as far as technology. But I just want to show you something. The Shankaracharya of the north. In Indo, the seers were in the Himalayas, deep in the forests, and a great deal of knowledge was there. Shankara brought all that knowledge out and brought it to the northern part of India and created 4 seats of in Indo, which held certain aspects of the knowledge of Veda. In the north, the Shankaracharya of the north holds all the knowledge. Now, what does that mean? Wow, you think the seer's head must be as bigger than this hall to be able to contain it. But in fact, it was systematized by the Shankaracharya. And over the centuries then, it was just an oral tradition and only passed down to those individuals who became disciplines or disciples of a particular master. Now, I don't know how many of you know about the yugas. They're the wheel of time. We're right now in the time of Kali Yuga. And Kali Yuga is the time of distortion, of collapse. But it's also a time of tremendous opportunity, more so than the other yugas, to get enlightenment. Because the suffering is so great. Now in our lives, compared to maybe other people's lives in the world, maybe our lives aren't that much suffering. We're not starving. We're not being bombed out. But we all have some heartache, some suffering. And this is the time, and that suffering is delegated to the person's individual nervous system and their karma. That's how much they get. Now, as you're a young person, you may have a lot. But as you get older, there's less. Maybe as a young person, you didn't have much, but now as an older person, you get a lot. It's to push you into this desire to reduce the suffering and come onto, as you all have, as seekers, maybe someday seers, but as seekers looking for some relief, peace of mind, more balance, being grounded. You know intuitively that something's missing. So what I'm holding in my hand is really kind of an attempt to illustrate how big Veda is. Okay, Veda has 40 aspects. Of these aspects, you don't need to read it, you just need to get a visual feeling. Of these aspects, there are volumes and volumes and volumes of knowledge that can't fit quite in these little spaces. The 14th aspect is yoga. Yoga asanas, or hatha yoga. So yoga asanas is really one of the 6 systems of Indian philosophy. Has 4 chapters. And those 4 chapters have been illustrated in the physiology. Veda is in the physiology. When a monk, or the things that you read, whether you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, it doesn't matter. Everything you need to know is right inside. Know thyself. There's many variations of that term. But what does it mean? Who am I? Well, is this all there is? There's not only knowing who you are and why you are, but you can imagine everything that is out beyond you, you can know. You can realize that knowledge. And truly, Veda, all of Veda, is designed to explore that on an intellectual level and also on a practical level. Yoga is the study of the mind, or science of the mind, for realization. Meditation is its main tool. Asanas was only added sort of late. Because why? Well, you know, as we get into Kali Yuga and people are losing their knowledge and teachers are missing or they're hiding because things are getting grosser and grosser, more materialistic, more suffering, we kind of lose that ability to go inward by using only our mental abilities. We know, all of us know, mind, body are connected, right? So here he is sitting here. If I scream at him, he gets some shock in the body, right? We can't separate mind and body. Based on that, yoga asanas is to, in fact, prepare the body, as your experience, prepare the body for meditation in this yuga. We're not eating correctly, mostly, sometimes, maybe. We stay out too late. We have wrong associations. We have stress. We like to party, like to drink. Yeah. Well, yoga teaches that we also have to, compassion, ahimsa, compassion not only for all beings, that's under yama aspect of yoga, but for ourselves. Sometimes we show more compassion or more concern for other people than we do for our own body and our own mental health. So in integral yoga, for those of you who have a brochure, integral yoga takes from the 8 spheres or 8 limbs of yoga, aspects of that knowledge, and puts it into a format that a householder can use. Anybody want to be an Olympic yogic person? You do? Okay, I'll give you a name in the Himalayas, and a monk you can go. Okay, all of us want to have family. Maybe we have a family. We want to be part of the world. So it's very difficult to sustain a regular practice. Integral yoga does that for individuals. Okay? And how is yoga connected with Ayurveda? Ayurveda is a science of life, not just the physical life. But if you would go to an Ayurvedic physician called a Vaidya, would you mind standing up? He's not shy. He's from Canada. Okay, so this man has a problem. Okay, I'm a Vaidya. Now the Vaidya, doctors generally in allopathic medicine and sometimes other medicines, okay, he has a cold, he has these problems. I give him some herbs, I'd say, okay, no problem, it'll be fine. But a Vaidya, now he's a male, so may I have this? This is the right hand. Sorry, my hands are a little cold, but the heart's warm. I take his pulse. Now I'm not counting beats. I say, oh, your wife has diabetes. You have a lover. Okay? Your one child, oh, you lost a child. Okay? Oh, when you're about 3, maybe, oh, you broke your right femur. Your tonsils were removed. And emotionally, you're grieving your parents' death. This is a physician. This is Ayurveda. You don't exist, thank you. You don't exist alone. Your health is not just about you. It's about your associations, of course, your behavior, your lifestyle, but your associations, and your parentage, and your ancestors. The wonderful thing that I love about Asian people, most, out of Europe, they honor their ancestors. My husband's Korean, so I Chuseok, and of course his mother has passed, and we honor her, death day and all this type of thing. And this is extremely important for healing karma. Because upon your conception, at that moment, in that nucleus of that cell that is created, all your ancestral karma from both sides is in there. Now, we could have been our ancestors in a previous life. So we have to dissolve that. This is done specifically through meditation, certain types of meditation. Okay? Very powerful mantras are given in Japa Yoga meditation. And those mantras are specifically chosen for your physiology by a trained teacher. Yoga also teaches other kinds of meditation. All kinds of meditation are very helpful. They serve a certain purpose. And the purpose is, in some ways, to balance your physiology. Now let me show you something. See, here it is. Now to show you how advanced Veda is, Veda, remember it's thousands of years old, describes in detail the atom, describes in detail the function, the wave function of gravity. Kidding me? How's it possible? We're just trying to figure it out in this modern scientific world. Because not anything can be known and understood in terms of transcending the ignorance. And in fact, the sutra is a wonderful sutra, because as I was reading it in English, it says it all. It says exactly what Veda is teaching. Let me show you. See where we're? There we are. I was really expecting only about 5 people and thought, oh, this is plenty easy to see. But this will give you an impression. This is your brain. Now, mostly it's not this color, but it's to illustrate the 4 really areas of the brain. Yoga, which is part of Veda, describes in detail the function of these part of the brain, which has been verified by modern science. Okay? Now, we all had, see, where is it here? We all had biology, and maybe some of you have seen a real brain. You know that it has folds and it's very wavy, and some of the folds and the sections are short and some are long. Every Yoga Sutra, there's a Yoga Sutra for every part of the brain. So if there's a short fold, there's a short sutra. If it's a long fold, it's a long sutra. What does that mean? Well, maybe they're dissecting people. I don't think so. Maybe. What are the sutras for? It's not a description. It is a formula for enlivening that part of the brain as it's matched to its possible function. Remember, all the practice that you're doing, no matter what your religious philosophical connection, is designed to bring you to enlightenment or salvation, as the Christians would say. How is that possible? It's through the brain and nervous system. The brain and nervous system is that thing that is affected by everything we do. And it affects, then, everything that we do in terms of our thoughts, speech, and action. 10,000 years ago, the seers knew that. And they were appointed to make sure that the human physiology remains balanced so that every individual can maximize the potential, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So Veda is a science to the finest detail, to the DNA. So how does that work with a Vaidya taking a pulse? And we're going to practice this. You're going to see how easy it is. Here we go. Veda describes, and we're going to hear some of these hymns, we call them hymns. Samaveda will be played at the end of the lecture. And as you hear the Samaveda, those mantras, even if you're deaf, even if you cannot hear it this way, your skin will hear it. And it starts harmonizing the physiology. Okay? It's a science using every aspect of the senses and goes beyond the senses. This is a diagram of Rig Veda and a detailed description of the sutras used to stimulate the spinal cord, to maximize the experience. And of course you've heard of Kundalini. Everybody hear about Kundalini? Everybody had a Kundalini experience? Yeah, I can see the lights just pouring out of Ernie's head. It's to maximize that. And I could go into detail, as you might guess, to the finest detail of some of this, and of course we only have not very much more time. But in the courses that we teach at the Buddhist English Library, we go into great detail on these things, so we can appreciate our practice. If we knew the intellectual and the scientific aspect of yoga, we wouldn't take a vacation from it for very long. Any more than we'd stop brushing our teeth for a few days. Anybody brush their teeth only 3 times a week? Right. We're very careful about our teeth. So we take good care of them. We don't think any about, but think about by the practice of yoga and implementing Ayurvedic techniques and principles is as important as to keep your physiology balanced and clean as it is to brushing your teeth. But that knowledge has been lost. For those of you, and because in the West particularly, and then it came to Korea, we have hot yoga, we have diet yoga, we have meet your lover yoga, that type of thing. That's okay. And it's a start. But if it doesn't go any further than that, it's really not helping the practitioner to appreciate the hugeness of what yoga is and the huge potential which is in everybody's body. Every one of you. Every human being. And the only requirement, and this is a small requirement actually, it's not really a requirement, but for most of us, if you can think a thought, you can do yoga. I've taught 3-year-old kids, I've taught retarded people, and they're very successful in evolving in terms of their own spiritual realization. So, today, we're going to talk more about... Sorry, Mr. Kim, I guess I don't need the board. Anyway, we're going to talk about how Ayurveda and yoga are connected. Really, in traditional classical yoga, Ayurveda and yoga are sisters. They're not separate. A classical trained yoga teacher is very well versed in Ayurveda. Because in order to get balanced body, or to have experiences in meditation, our body has to be balanced. And I demonstrated how the Abhijah would take a pulse and know everything about you. When I was director at the Ayurvedic Medical Center in Philadelphia for 4 years, really I didn't know much about the pulse. And as I learned it and came in with, CEOs of big companies and very important men and women, but I'd have to be there and take notes. They were confidential, of course. And, some of these greatly prestigious men, particularly, who have great pride, sit down and the Vaidya takes the pulse, they cry. Not all, but they cry because the Vaidya knows all the secrets. Not only that, but they come to realize that the actions that they have done in their life is retained in the physiology until that body's dropped. And they're always going out somewhere to try to release that stress or those memories, but perhaps in the wrong way, or not in a very efficient way. So today we're going to talk about body types. Let's see, we need more volunteers. Sir, would you like to volunteer? You can stand up here, okay? Sir, here, together. I need... Right, we need a... Let me see your hair. Okay, he's also Pitta, but he's Pitta Kapha. We need a lady who's Vata Vata. Vata Vata? Yeah, maybe I think so. Now, those of you, please stand here. Thank you for volunteering. I promise not to hurt you, okay? Or tell any secrets about you. Anyway, if you're familiar with Oriental medicine, you know that there are certain called humors within the body. And the physician will categorize an individual within that. In that similar way, in Ayurveda, there are 3 body types. Now, nobody's just one body type. There's a combination, usually. So let me talk to you about what that is. And what is your name again, sir?
Amarnath.
Amarnath?
Yes.
Hi, Amarnath.
Hi.
Are you relaxed?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Excuse me. Sorry, okay, I'll stand here. Amarnath has Vata, is primarily Vata. What does that mean? Look at him. He's very tall. He's thin. Yeah? And there's other characteristics, let's see, without getting too personal, but you're so kind.
That's not my bottom.
And he's also Pitta, which means he has this angel hair. So ladies, if you have very fine hair, right, and you're complaining, oh, it's not big hair, what am I going to do? All the models have big hair. They have wigs, okay? Don't worry about that. So Vata Pitta have these very fine qualities. All right? Now, if we had a lady who was the stature of this gentleman, we could say, wow, she's potentially a runway model. Right? He's potentially a runway model with his physique. Okay? Now, secretly, I know this doesn't apply to you, but secretly he wants to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everybody know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is? I don't know what the Korean equivalent is. He could never do that unless he took terrible chemicals, of course. And then he still couldn't grow big muscles. He can be strong, but he could never do that because it's not part of his body type. You need a kapha to do that. And here we go. Excuse me. This gentleman is Vata, our Pitta, okay? There's many Pitta characteristics. You don't see his hair, but you see this hairline, and you have this hairline. He has this hairline. That's Pitta. Pitta are naturally potentially very intelligent. They're physicians, you don't feel intelligent? I'm sure you are. So if he wants to be a sumo wrestler or a Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's going in the wrong direction to develop his full potential as a Pitta Vata or Vata Pitta. Okay? So, and let's say, we'll get into the matching of people together as couples. If he marries a Pitta Vata, it's not the best balance perhaps. Maybe he's more attracted, in fact, Vatas are more attractive, to a lady with a little more volume. Is it true? More round lady?
I like all the ladies.
Okay. That's good. Okay. He's single.
That's the Vata.
Yeah, that's also good.
Liking it all.
You're liking it all, that's true. But they tend to be attracted to Vata Pitta. Vata is the air. Okay? Pitta is more fire and air, fire and water. They usually need to be grounded. So you would find more regularly that a Vata Pitta, particularly, would be attracted to a lady who's a little bit fuller. She's more grounded. She, Kapha, are more attracted to someone like this because they need that energy. They need that fire. So we can match you up real quick for a lot of ladies. Okay. This gentleman, are you an athlete?
Used to be.
Yeah, what did you used to do?
I still keep a physical practice.
What do you do? What did you do?
I was a powerlifter, wrestler,
power lifter.
Tough guy stuff.
Actually, I was a power lifter when I was 40. 300 pounds deadlift. Yeah, 250 squat, and shoulders are very small. Ladies usually can't do bench press. Mine was 125 as a minimum. But anyway, I'm 63 now, and I can't lift anything. Apples. So, isn't it interesting that this gentleman is attracted to powerlifting? He would not be a good long-distance runner. Were you in track or anything like that?
No, I really hated sports all my life.
Did you?
Yeah.
Scholar, which is a Pitta characteristic. But look at how this man is built. I mean, we can look. He has a big shoulders, heavy. I mean, I'm touching him here. He has a lot of muscle just naturally, and and Kappas need a lot of exercise, or they get. I mean, if I didn't exercise, I'd be as big as a house, because I am Kappa, Vata. So, excuse me. So, and he can build muscle, and it wouldn't take him very long to do that. If this gentleman wanted to grow muscle, he would have to work harder. He would have to eat a lot. And of course, and the thing about Pitta, their digestive fire is fantastic. Is it true?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kapha, they have to be really, very active to have a good digestion. Good. Okay. You can say no. It's okay. All right. Thank you. Gentlemen, sit down. Thank you for your help. Now we have this lady. May I touch her hair? Sure. And angel hair. She's definitely Vata, some Vata and Pitta. And may I do this? You can do? Okay. Not so much, but and the feet. The toes next to her big toe are longer than her big toe. That's a Pitta indicator. And this lady is a dentist. Not only a dentist, she's a researcher, and so she's scientifically oriented. She has to know more. It's not enough. She has to go longer and do better. This is her personality. Is it true?
Very deep. I do whatever I get interested in.
Yeah, she goes very, very deep. Okay, so, and also, this is a lady that, doesn't gain weight easily. It's not that she's not eating. It's just that her physiology is such that, if I eat as much as she does, which is probably, she eats more than I do. If I eat that much, I just go like this. Because the Kapha aspect is to build. Okay? Vatas however, have to be very careful. They can go fast, but they get exhausted quickly. Okay? And they're very sensitive. Now, not that the other combinations are not sensitive. It means they have to be very careful about the weather. They have to be very careful about the environment because they're easily affected, particularly women. And Ayurveda makes a distinction between women's physiology and male's physiology. So, say these two people, man and lady, come, they have the same disease. They're not given the same medicine because their bodies function differently. They're not given the same routine, not only herbally, but perhaps in lifestyle, because their physiologies are different. Okay? It's very important that we want to think in this modern day that men can be women, well, I don't know, but women can be as strong and as, work as hard as men. In a different way, they can do that. The mistake is to think to be the same as men. And in my practice and counseling, I find that a lot of women are really becoming extremely and unnecessarily stressed because of that cultural push. Okay? Thank you very much. Okay, so now we're going to take a quiz. Yes? You.
There's two different types of people, or these three categories. Is there a scientific term for the same, the equivalent of?
Dosha. It's, you say this.
Like the mystic or Buddhists have these three terms.
Yes, this is the three terms. These are the humors, right, or the doshas.
Is there a scientific term for the equivalent of that?
You mean like an allopathic Western description?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ectomorphous? Okay, ectomorph, mesomorph. Okay, thank you. Since I'm not playing with that so much, thank you. That was a good question. All right, for those people who don't have pencils or pens, I have it. We're going to see what body type you are. However, this little quiz that you're going to get, it's called Discovering Your Body Type, may show us your true body type, which is called Prakriti, or your blueprint. That's when you were born or created, you had a particular blueprint. And people will say, oh, you look so much like your mother. He's a spitting image of his father. Okay? Obviously, we're made by two people, and of course the influence of our ancestors. However, when you take this quiz, it's also going to reflect your imbalances in your body. So it's very useful. Instead of taking everyone's pulse, which I'll pick a few people that I'll take the pulse, and we'll see if your checking of your body type matches the pulse. The pulse for Prakriti is felt at the very deep level. The pulse, now here's a finger. They're transducers. You know what transducer is? Do we have a Korean translation for transducer? Okay, you know what a sonogram is. If I was pregnant, they have, sonic image. They can get a sonic image of the baby. That's a sonic or transducer. Your fingers, and everybody's fingers, if you have them, are transducers. And they can measure 7 levels. Each finger has 5 parts to 7 levels. Okay? The female side sees certain organs, the male side other organs. So you can imagine the extraordinary instrument that you hold right in your hand once you get to learn to use it. And with the Ayurvedic healthcare classes, we learn how to do that. It takes a long time. I had to do 7,000 pulses before I could be, certified, plus to read all the levels. But you get to read the basic, deep pulse and the surface pulse. The surface pulse tells us every day what's going wrong. So after you complete the course, you'll know that your vata is out of whack. And we'll talk about what that is a little bit later. I don't want to spend too much more time on those things because I can get very involved. Okay, let me hand it out. Please, it's for your keeping. You don't hand it in. I don't see it. We're going to talk about numbers. So be honest with yourself concerning the questions. Could I have some help with handing out the questionnaires, please? Okay, on this side is the questionnaire. On this side is a description of the particular body type, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. It's when it's in balance, when it's out of balance, and how to balance it. So you take this home, and you might see from your answers how you might already start to balance your physiology. Okay? Oh, please, yes. You're welcome. Yeah, okay. We'll take it. Now, don't spend too much time on this. Pardon me? Do you need?
Do it now?
Yes, do it now, please. Do you need more? Okay. I don't know. I think I only did 20. And I don't have any more. Sorry. Oh, I did 20 only. Sorry. Well, this doesn't really work that way. Let's see. Okay. This is the master, but you can do. Okay. One more. Okay. You can copy. Okay, Giselle. Yeah. Don't take too much time. Read it. Be spontaneous. I think we need more than 2. 1, 2. Okay. Pitta, definitely pitta. Don't think too hard. This is your general experience of your adult life that you can remember. So we need 1, 2, 3. Yogi, Hange. Sir? Yes, 3. Make 4 to make sure. Yeah, 4. I need 4. Thank you. Now look that you're remember you're putting numbers there, not check marks. You're putting 0, 1, or 2. Okay? Because we're going to add up the score on each one. 여기요. Yeah, do you have 1? You should get 1. Yeah. 2 sides. Oh, they're same? No, these are same. Different. Sorry. Yeah, mistake. Sorry. It's very complicated, I know. Okay? Please add them up. In other words, there's a total there. Okay? Okay, you have a Vata imbalance, I think, because you have a Kapha. No. Yeah, the pittas will finish first and they'll have it, I know how it goes. Can you make this bigger? Wait, let me take your pulse a minute. We're going to push down deep. Yeah, so this is reflecting an imbalance rather than your true Prakriti. Yeah, because you have a Kapha aspect. I think so, yeah. I think you're more Kapha. May I touch your hair? Yeah, you're Pitta, but you're Kapha. Okay. Did you take one for yourself? Do you have? Take. Okay, thank you. All right, how are we doing? Oh, this is a Vata lady. Okay, what numbers do you have?
I have 32, 14.
Mm-hmm. Go like this with your hair. Okay. Thanks. Thank you very much. Thank you for your help. Okay. Now it's important to put the date on this because you're going to take it home and the time is about, 3:15 in the afternoon. All these, because the pulse changes throughout the day depending whether you ate, whether you're listening to good music. However, the Prakriti doesn't change. Prakriti will change when you're enlightened, but right now it won't change. Okay? Because if you decide to do the course, you want to keep this and bring it with you and see how your pulse changes after you've started learning the techniques on how to balance your physiology. Okay, are we ready? Everyone finished? All right, another minute. For those who have finished, look on the back. For those who have finished, look on the back and see, in terms of numbers, how that, if you're Vata, say you're 32 or Vata's the leading thing, look at under Vata and see if any of those imbalances apply to you or match with the questions on the other side. And it tells you how to balance. Okay? All right, here we go. Any questions before we start on this side?
A little bit.
You have a lot of Vata. What's your Vata?
29.
Okay, 29. Pitta?
18.
Hmm.
And 17 for Vata.
Okay. Now, by just observing her, she can't sit still.
I'm like ready to go.
Do you have a date?
No. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I
Vata is movement. It is that aspect which moves the impulses from the brain through the whole physiology, through the nervous system. If you're constipated, which means, you're not really going to the bathroom as you should, or you have water dung. And she's laughing. You have water dung? Not because of bad food necessarily, but, if you get nervous, water dung. Remember, every part of the physiology, down to the very cell, is controlled by your nervous system. That's Vata. This lady can't stop moving. Her Vata is imbalanced. But believe me, everybody's Vata is imbalanced in the modern world. Unless you're a yogi and have a yogi lifestyle. Or you're enlightened and then it doesn't much matter what you do. But you tend not to do the wrong thing. Okay? So, in this lady's case, in fact, let's see. She has, if we bring this back into balance, oops, metal. Do you gain weight easily? No, okay. So she's not Vata Kapha, but she may, her Prakriti, her blueprint, when she was conceived, may be Vata Pitta, but with this number, it indicates, given these, that her Vata is way out of balance. Yoga, a little change in lifestyle, meditation, can help bring that into balance. Now, what's the problem with Vata? Vata's the boss. Here's the brain. It's the boss. If Vata's out of balance, it's a bully. It'll push other doshas out of balance. So, how is your digestion? You don't mind if I use you as an example? How is your digestion? Slow, fast, medium?
I eat something and it comes in, it's very active. I eat 5 small meals a day. I'm always on the go.
I would be this big.
I don't know what I cook. I just eat a fruit or...
Okay, how about a meal? Meals. Do you eat meals besides snacking? That's a Vata characteristic, by the way. Eating kind of like a little bird.
Yeah.
Okay? They're kind of always eating. I have 2 bungees or 2 parakeets. I love birds. And, they'll eat, they'll play, then they'll rest. They'll eat, they'll play, and then they'll rest. Do you rest a lot? Yeah, when she can. So she's the bird or the butterfly. Okay. So now I would not prescribe for her what I would prescribe for a Kapha person who has a Vata imbalance, because she's primarily Vata Prakriti or Vata blueprint. Okay? We go into that in great detail in the course. Okay, who has predominant Kapha? Anybody? Hi. Look how beautiful this woman is. She's predominantly Kapha. What's your next? How much Kapha? 29. Okay? 29. Pitta? 21. 25. Could we have a 3 dosha person, maybe? Remember, no one is just one dosha. They would be, if we had one dosha Vata, well, they wouldn't be here. They'd be walking around like me, but I'm performing here. They couldn't really sit still. Okay? It's always a combination. And remember, even though your dosha type may be Vata Pitta, all 3 doshas are in your body and they're performing action 24/7. All the time. Okay? So, I'd like to take your pulse. So have you always been, strong and easily gain weight since you were a little kid? Okay. And when I'm in the bathhouse, I love to go to the bathhouse. When I go to the bathhouse and the mothers bring in their children, and, little boys and girls are there, depending on their age like that, I can spot immediately a Kapha child. Now, a Kapha child usually is very resistant to disease. Pretty healthy, generally, yeah? Unless environmental poisoning or something. A Vata person, this lady's cold. That's a typical kind of expression of Vata. Our Pitta people, look at this guy. He's wearing sandals. He has a short, no, this is you. He's hot. Okay? They make good yogis in the snow. Okay? Pitta, the fire is very high and they stay warm. They're always warm. If he marries a Vata woman, he wants the window open. She wants to sit on the heater. Okay? They don't get together very often because he can't stand the heat, she can't stand the cold. So the point is, if we know our Prakriti, we can appreciate what we need, but we can appreciate other people. For example, if you're a Pitta and you're a boss, the head of a department, you can get very aggravated with a Kapha person. Look at the Kapha. In balance, they're affectionate, compassionate. Doesn't mean that Pitta and Vata is not, but they're, that's why they, mothers, kind of the idea of the mother Venus, yeah? Nice and round, fertile. But look, they're slow and methodical. Pitta hates it. Bali. Maybe they fire that person. That's okay. But understand that so when you're hiring and firing, or you're hiring people, you want people who you as a Pitta can work with. And usually it's other Pittas. As a first dosha, anyway. Now if you're a Kapha person, and you go for a job, and it's a Pitta boss, maybe you don't really want to work for that guy, or girl, lady. Because there's going to be a lot of friction. Okay? This is a law of nature. It's not your, it's not your personality. You're not a bad person. The director is not a bad person. But if you have this knowledge, you can easily avoid a lot of problems, a lot of friction and suffering. Same with marriage. Now, there's always exceptions. But generally speaking, a Vata Pitta man, because they're so energetic, and they're often perfectionists, not always, it depends. But, to be with a wife like that all the time, unless they're really well doing the same type of job, there can be a lot of friction. And what is a characteristic of Pitta? Fire. Angry quickly. This hurts Kapha, and it can upset Vata. Okay? Pitta can balance their fire with a change in few things. So, someone says, oh, he always gets angry. Why is he always angry? He's not a nice person. Well, if you know Ayurveda and the body types, you may know that that's not a typical, Pittas don't do that if they're balanced. Yeah? And if you can find someone who's balanced, it's a tremendous thing to work with all those dosha combinations, if you understand them. Because you would know how to interact with them, and they, in turn, would know how to interact with you. This is harmony in the society. We lost that ability or that knowledge. Consequently, there's a lot of suffering. Okay, take this home, look it over. Now, I want to show you something very quickly, and we'll do this only for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to teach an easy yoga exercise, eye exercise. And this eye exercise will be to stimulate the brain. Okay? It strengthens the muscles of the eyes, like that. But remember, the eyes are the windows to the brain, to the soul. Eyes eat. Skin eats. What we see, Veda says, we become. So ask yourself what you're seeing when you go home and you turn on the television. How does that affect our nervous system and, in fact, change our emotional makeup or our mental attitude? Well, I see war, but that doesn't bother me. That's just movies. Everybody gets up and walks away. It's kind of exciting. Though you may not feel that you want to be a soldier or murder anyone, that affects every cell in your body. Now, it's very difficult. We live in a very, can we say progressive world? What's a good word? Materialist, propaganda, with a lot of propaganda and all that type of thing. So we may want to be more discriminating. And Buddhism, as does Vedic philosophy, discernment needs to be practiced. Now, your parents and society says, don't do this. This is bad. Do this. Don't lie. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Be kind. Well, and we all know how difficult it is always to do the right thing. Veda says, how can you be expected to do the right thing if you're not physically balanced? Your physiology isn't balanced, you can't do the right thing. If you're balanced, if you're a practitioner, righteousness, meaning right thought, right speech and action, comes naturally. There's no effort. So the practice of yoga and Ayurveda to help keep balanced means that we don't have to, slowly, chokum, we actually become a more compassionate, truly compassionate. Instead of trying to be compassionate occasionally, And through that compassion, we perform right action. There's a formula. The Veda has that formula. And it's been lost. However, it's coming back due to the Shankaracharya and the great masters who, it was time in Kali Yuga, take it out of India, give it to everyone. Now, where does Ayurveda reside? It doesn't mean Korea's teachings aren't good, because Ayurveda is, remember, natural law. Koreans, particularly, or Chinese, or wherever you are from, has their natural law. And those ancient peoples were observers of that natural law. They ate the right foods, because maybe that's what they cultivated. They ate what they grew in their part of the world. That's what their DNA is nourished with. Ayurveda exists everywhere. Unfortunately, in most cultures, it's been crushed, and maybe there's this much left from a whole body of knowledge. For many reasons. War, invasion. In Indo, there were so many invasions, and of course we know the English being the last one. They went purposefully and destroyed and tried to kill the great masters and the Vaidyas, and these people went underground or hid very deep away. They were successful in destroying a lot. Korea's same, from what I understand. Particularly with the Japanese, before the war was, they went in, they checked out who the great masters were in the Buddhist temples. Because why? You can't have people be in control of themselves if you want to control them. And this happens with America's the same. Massacred Indians. Whole races of Indians. And those Indians had within them the knowledge of the land and Ayurveda of that land. So I would encourage you first, if you're Korean, to seek out those great people who are still going, great-grandmothers, grandmothers, who still have the knowledge and get it. A lot has been lost. Incorporate, see, natural law, gravity's the same everywhere. Gravity's the same in Korea as it is in New York, as it is in, South America, Mexico, and Australia. The naming of those natural laws are a little bit different, but they're the same. So if it's lost in this part of the world, go to a system that has maintained it for thousands of years and is now bringing it out. And you'll be able to see the connection with your own environment. Okay, so are we ready for a little yoga exercise? Okay, so anybody have contact lenses on? Okay, you can't do it. Okay, we don't want to have you lose your contact up around your eyeball. For those of us who have glasses, I would suggest that you take them off, and I'm going to keep mine on. I'll demonstrate first, and then I'll put them back on, and check you to see how you're performing. You can do this in the morning time, and we want to do it slowly and mindfully, and you can do it for about, we'll do, this is called, okay, if I move my eyes from here to here, that's 1, okay? Okay. 2, 3, okay. 4. So we want to do it five times. Also, if we go up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, we're going to go around. One circle around is 1. Okay? So we'll look up, and we'll go to our left first. We'll look up. Now look, I'm not moving my head. Now for people who need some marker, because sometimes now I can't use that eye. Sometimes we don't know that we're skipping a part of our eye or part of the orifice of our eyeball. So we might want to use your pencil or pen and look at the top, follow it around to where it's comfortable, and slowly and up. If that's painful, you'll make a smaller circle. Okay? You'll make a smaller circle. The point in yoga, and Michelle had an experience of hurting her neck in yoga, that shouldn't happen. When you come to yoga class, a teacher will look at you, ask you if you've had any injuries before, and detect or demonstrate. I don't demonstrate because, people say, oh, Lynn, Teacher Lynn, you don't demonstrate. Can you do asanas? Yeah, but I don't want people to think that that what I do is what they should be doing. Okay? Your body type, your age, your sex, all determines the perfect asana posture for you. If you want to you get on the YouTube and you see these yogis moving their bellies, you can do that. Move their bellies and they're twisting all around. Well, most of them aren't, probably over 35, maybe over 30, and their whole life is that. It's wonderful to look at, just like we see Olympic skiers, but that's not our goal. And we don't have to be to that level of posture to be successful and get the benefit of that posture. Okay? So, when we're doing the eye exercise, don't strain. Okay? Very important. Secondly, we don't want to move our head like this. Not a good idea. Okay? Some people have to hold their head, that's fine. Especially going in the circle, people tend to go like this. No moving the head. All right? Okay, let's start. First of all, we want to make a prayer. Any in your own, even if you're not have a religious affiliation, make a promise. We make a promise to our eyes that we're going to take better care of them. Okay? And we want to thank them for all the work that they do. I mean, can you imagine life would be without them. Then we want to offer our exercise today for the benefit of not only ourselves, but for the benefit of all beings in the universe. And when you've done that, then we can start. Okay. Oh, very good. All right. We sit straight, as straight as we can, but comfortably. And we look, our nose should be forward. And I'll count. I'm going to look at you as well. But you're going to look up and down and up, and that's 1. Okay? So we're going to count to 5. If at any time, even if you do 2, it doesn't feel good, then close your eyes. You don't need to push to 5, but generally most young people can do to 5. Okay, so here we go. You look forward, heads back straight. Okay, and if you're moving your head, I'll just mention it to you. All right. Look up. Look down. 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 Excellent. Close your eyes. Now put your attention on any muscle or any discomfort you might feel in the eyes at this time. Close your eyes. Okay. All right, let's open our eyes. Now we're going to start from horizontally. We'll start on the left side, okay, and go to the right side, and we'll do the same. One round is from the left to right and back. That's 1. Okay, here we go. Look, start. Left, as far as you can go. Right, left, right, left, right. Eyes open. Left, right, left, right. And that's 5. Close your eyes. Again, it's very important to close your eyes afterwards because this, again, gives rest and starts the healing process. Ayurveda primarily is about self-healing and prevention. In the old days, if an Ayurvedic physician kept everybody well in the village, he got paid. If someone got sick, he didn't get paid. That's true medicine. Okay, open your eyes. Okay, now we're going to start. We'll look up and we'll go around 5 times to the left. Okay, look up. Start. Around the circle. If you need to use your thumb as a guide, do it. Or a pencil. It's very helpful. Okay, 1, 2. You need a pencil. 3. Are we on 3? Okay. Look up. Look up. Open your eyes. Okay. 4. And finish with 5. When you finish, then close your eyes again. Put your attention on any aspect of the eye or even the head that you might feel some discomfort. By putting your attention there, you start the process, the innate intelligence which is already there to help heal that aspect and strengthen it. Okay? Good. Close the eyes again. Now we're going to go to the right side. Your right side. Look up. And when I say look up, open that eye and look up. Okay? Look up and go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. No one's moving their head. 4. And finish with 5. And close your eyes. Again, putting your attention on the eyes Any sensation around the eyes or behind the eyes? We'll start the healing process. All right, open your eyes. I want to hear some experiences. Anyone have eye hurting? Hurting in the eyes? Anyone? Okay, does everybody feel stronger? All right. So you can practice that at home. Just do 5 if you're not familiar with it. If you've been instructed and have been practicing with a yogic teacher and you do more rounds, that's fine. I would suggest you don't increase them until you have additional instruction. All right? Okay. Let's start with questions. We have a few minutes. Then we're going to listen to Samaveda. Samaveda is Vedic chants. Sama is the harmonizing aspect. It's a huge, huge volume of Samaveda. And it'll harmonize your physiology. Even though you're not a practitioner of any of necessarily of these things, remember, sound is very effective. One of my favorite sounds is, it's not very good, using the nails on the blackboards, the old blackboards, the slate blackboards. Very awful. We can think of sounds that upset us. A baby crying upsets me. It could be, the next door neighbor, and I get upset. So, but there are sounds that we love. Sounds of birds, natural sounds, maybe Mozart, maybe some other things. So we know how that makes us feel. Samaveda uses, in fact, and enlivens parts of the brain to, remember, the brain is the king or the queen. And by stimulating and enlivening the lobes from front to back and side to side, it's affecting the spinal cord, which goes to all the nerves that stimulate all the way down to every nuclei in every cell. It's a harmonizing. And in fact, in the classes we do this, and we take our pulse before class, in the middle of class, and after class. Everybody's vata, everybody's dosha comes back into balance for that time. And of course they go out, and if you go dancing and drinking and running around, that can get out of balance again. But we have ways to keep it in balance as we go through our daily life. Okay? All right. Any questions before we continue? Yes?
It's funny, when I was looking at my profile, in some ways it's very balanced, but I often feel that they're conflicting with each other at the same time.
Which ones are
different characteristics that tend to be opposites.
All the time? Right. Okay. And that's a good observation. Sometimes we feel like we can't stop moving, but other times she's at rest while she's awake, besides sleeping. Okay? So it depends about concerning our thoughts, what our activity has been done, we did in the morning or in the evening, what we thought of or watched before we went to bed. There's so many influences, and so, not everybody is always constipated or has diarrhea. I mean, they'd be pretty much gone. If you look back at yourself, and what have I done and what have I eaten? Oh, right, in our chart, yeah, I've done all that, so, I'm constipated for the last 2 days. So what do? Well, you want to take a commercial laxative? No, I wouldn't suggest it, because, again, that interferes with the natural intelligence. What do? Well, you change your lifestyle a little bit for the next few days, take some, natural type foods, and, things go back to normal. So we can be out of balance, in balance, out of balance, in balance, because the type of lives that we live in the modern world produce those kind of imbalances.
When we say imbalance, is there also certain tension with that, almost like
Actually, if it's in balance, there's no tension. It's difficult as a modern person in the world to experience that unless you're using japa yoga meditation where you actually transcend. And believe me, I would suggest this, that if you hear someone say, oh, you can't get enlightened, the way you live, you can't do meditation, you're a smoker, you eat meat, you're not ready for meditation. That's not true. It's your prakriti and other things concerning you. If a teacher gives you the matching mantra, you can transcend. They've hooked up brains of all kinds of people. You teach them japa yoga meditation, and they find within seconds of learning, they transcend time, into no time and space. Now, it may be for a nanosecond, it may be for longer. It all depends. That's the way through those kind of practices that we can bring more and more these out of balance doshas into balance. So it's a combination of so many things. That's why it's very difficult to practice, on a daily basis, maybe. But for a short time, 10 minutes here of asanas, changing a few things in our lifestyle, 10 or 15 minutes using japa meditation in the morning and evening. Why not? What for? To keep this brain, this nugget of gold, healthy and shining. Same with our nervous system. I don't think it's a lot to ask. We just don't appreciate it fully. The importance of that brain and the nervous system. We abuse it, we push it to the end. And then, of course, people say, oh, I don't want to get old. Why? Oh, old people are sick. They're not happy. Veda says there's no reason, truly, if you practice, that getting old means getting sick. That getting old means getting unhappy because, your loved ones die, maybe even your kids die. You could be 80 and, your 60-year-old kid dies. Oh yeah, you have grief, but it doesn't affect the nervous system to the point where you collapse. Veda says, when it's time to go and you're meditating, and you've heard this in the Buddhist tradition, you sit, meditate, drop. My plan is to walk down the Harmony River, at 95. I don't want to stay longer than 95. And just, go, oh gee, I feel tired, bonk, that's it. Okay? And that's not unrealistic. We are culturally trained to think that it is. It's wrong thinking. It's absolutely wrong thinking. It's not the norm to be sick. It's not normal to grow old and be bitter or mean or, craggy or whatever you want to call it. It's not normal. That's the norm. We don't want to be the norm. We want to grow to our full potential. And believe me, the potential here in this room is exciting to me. Oh, this is the way I've always been. Well, it can be changed. A little knowledge can change everything. Yogastha karun karmani. Established in being, established in this oneself and knowledge. We perform action. What kind of action? Right action. So I'll leave you with that. Jai Gurudev.